Imagine soaring 39,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean, when suddenly both engines fail, and you're gliding silently through the night sky with 306 lives hanging in the balance. This isn't a scene from a movie. It's the real-life story of Air Transat Flight 236. Stay with us as we unravel the gripping events of that fateful night, showcasing unparalleled human resilience and aviation prowess. Air Transat Flight 236, an Airbus A330, sliced cleanly through the cold upper atmosphere. Inside the climate-controlled cabin, passengers mostly slept. Some read under dim lights, others lost themselves in the flickering images of in-flight movies. The steady, reassuring hum of the twin Rolls-Royce Trent 700 series engines was a powerful lullaby. But the sky, like the ocean below, holds its secrets, and sometimes the profoundly ordinary shatters into a million terrifying pieces. This night, August 24, 2001, was destined to become one of those times. The journey had begun like countless others. Flight TS-236 departed from Toronto Pearson International Airport at 0:52 Coordinated Universal Time. Its destination, Lisbon, Portugal. On board were 293 passengers, a diverse group. Many were Canadian holidaymakers eager for European sun. Others were Portuguese expatriates, journeying home to visit family, their hearts filled with anticipation. In the cockpit, Captain Robert Piché and First Officer Dirk de Jager commanded the aircraft. The illusion of safety, so carefully constructed by technology and procedure, was absolute. Several hours into the flight, as the aircraft carved its path eastward, the first subtle indication of a problem emerged. Deep within the complex machinery of the No. 2 engine, on the right wing, a fuel line had fractured. The lifeblood of the engine, its precious jet fuel, began to seep out, atomizing into the frigid night air, unseen, unheard, a silent hemorrhage high above the ocean. At 0503 UTC, the first amber cautions illuminated the pilot's displays, low oil temperature and high oil pressure readings for engine No. 2. Captain Piché and First Officer de Jager noted the anomalies. Piché, suspecting a sensor error rather than a genuine mechanical issue, contacted Air Transat's Maintenance Control Center via radio. After discussion, the advice from the ground was to monitor the situation. The fuel, however, continued its relentless escape, the leak rate increasing as the fracture potentially worsened under pressure. The situation escalated at 0536 UTC. A new, more alarming message flashed: fuel imbalance. The aircraft's sophisticated systems detected that the fuel quantity in the right-wing tanks was significantly lower than in the left. The fuel leak, now fed from both tank systems, intensified dramatically. By 0545 UTC, the fuel quantity indicators were painting an undeniable and terrifying picture. Captain Piché and First Officer de Jager realized the dire nature of their predicament. They had a massive fuel problem, and they were hundreds of miles from the nearest airport. The decision was swift: divert immediately. Their target became Lajes Air Base in the Azores, a Portuguese archipelago in the mid-Atlantic. They declared a fuel emergency with Santa Maria Oceanic Air Traffic Control, alerting the controllers to their critical situation. At 0613 UTC, while still 150 nautical miles from Lajes, the inevitable happened. The No. 2 engine, starved of fuel, sputtered, coughed, and then fell silent. The familiar roar on the right side of the aircraft vanished, replaced by an unnerving quiet. The Airbus A330 was now flying on a single engine. Captain Piché initiated a drift-down descent to a lower altitude, 33,000 feet, to conserve the remaining fuel for the struggling left engine. Just 13 minutes later, At 0626 UTC, the left engine also began to die. Both engines were gone. Air Transat Flight 236, a sophisticated jetliner, was now a glider. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Captain Piché's voice, though strained, remained remarkably calm as he transmitted the universal distress call. Inside the passenger cabin, the transition from normalcy to crisis was swift and terrifying. The cessation of the engine's powerful roar was the first sign. It wasn't an explosion or a violent shudder, but an unnerving, unnatural quiet that replaced the familiar drone. Passengers exchanged uneasy glances. Whispers rippled through the cabin. At 6:31 UTC, the situation became starkly, undeniably clear. Yellow oxygen masks suddenly dropped from the overhead compartments throughout the cabin, dangling like grotesque fruit. For many passengers, this was the ultimate symbol of disaster. The air grew thinner, colder. The raw, visceral reality of their extreme peril settled upon everyone. The 13 flight attendants, trained for emergencies but likely never imagining one of this magnitude, moved into action. Brace for impact. The words, chillingly familiar from safety briefings, now carried an immediate, terrifying weight. In the silent cockpit of Air Transat Flight 236, Captain Robert Piché and First Officer Dirk de Jager faced an extraordinary battle. With both engines dead, their primary power was gone. The Airbus A330 had a last resort, the ram air turbine, or RAT. This small propeller generated vital emergency power. It kept critical instruments illuminated and provided minimal hydraulic pressure. The aircraft was descending rapidly. Piché and de Jager had a limited window to reach Lajes. Calculations were relentless. Distance to runway versus altitude remaining. Every decision had to be perfect. Piché focused intently, guiding the powerless plane. Nearing Lajes, a new challenge arose. They were too high and too fast for a direct approach. Piché executed a full 360-degree turn to lose altitude. The lights of Lajes Air Base pierced the pre-dawn gloom, a welcome sight for the desperate crew and terrified passengers. Runway 33 lay ahead, a slender ribbon of hope. Without engine power, Flight 236 was coming in hot and fast. Captain Piché wrestled with the controls, knowing there would be no second chances. At 6:45 UTC, the main landing gear slammed onto the tarmac. The impact was incredibly hard. The aircraft bounced once, a violent jolt. Screams and cries erupted anew in the cabin. The undercarriage groaned under the immense stress. All 8 main tires burst almost immediately. The powerless aircraft careened down the runway. The battered Airbus A330 finally shuddered to a halt. An almost deafening silence descended, broken by distant emergency sirens. They were down. They were alive. The immediate aftermath was a blur of relief and medical attention. The investigation uncovered a sequence of failures. Improper maintenance was the primary culprit. A hydraulic pump from an older engine model was installed on a newer engine. This led to insufficient clearance between a hydraulic line and a fuel line. Vibration caused the lines to chafe, rupturing the fuel line. The investigation also scrutinized the flight crew. Captain Piché's skill was undeniable, but critical errors were made. The crew failed to recognize the fuel leak early and did not follow the correct checklist. Air Transat accepted responsibility and was fined. The incident underscored the importance of meticulous maintenance. Piché and de Jager received the Superior Airmanship Award. The legacy of Flight 236 extended beyond the headlines. The aircraft was repaired and returned to service, a testament to an incredible landing. Flight 236 should have ended in tragedy, but thanks to skill, calm, and sheer human resilience, it became a story of survival that stunned the world. If you found this story gripping, Subscribe for more incredible true events that defy the odds. Until next time, stay inspired, stay curious, and always believe in the impossible.